Welcome to the Register's Report. My name is John Buckley. I'm the Register of Deeds of Plymouth County. This show is about Plymouth County real estate. We're talking about the recordings in May on this June show. I have a great guest coming in the second segment, a very experienced realtor, Bill Callahan, and we're going to talk a little bit about places you can visit reflecting our nation's 250th anniversary, as well as one of our Plymouth colony records. So let's get right to the numbers. Deeds, which is the sale of property for Plymouth County, has been down somewhat for the past number of months, basically very flat. There were 598 deeds recorded in May, more than the 532 in April. We remain still 10% lower than last year's 665 deeds, and year-to-date we're down 9%. Our average sale price for all of Plymouth County, which includes some very wealthy towns and some more working towns, is $709,204. The next image you're going to see is of mortgages. Mortgages have maintained a little higher rate than deeds. There were 1,238 mortgages recorded in May, less than the 1,298 in April, 1% more than last May. However, year-to-date, up 11%. We've always followed foreclosure issues since the meltdown in 2008. There are only 5 foreclosure deeds in May, less than the 18 in April, down 29% than last May, and down 13% year-to-date. A foreclosure deed is when someone has lost their property to a lender, usually for failure to pay, can be health issues, job issues, whatever, but that is when title has passed back to the lender. The next number you're going to see is the foreclosure notices. A notice is the first document we receive at the registry that shows someone's in trouble. There were 28 foreclosure notices in May, less than the 46 in April, and down 23% year-to-date. If you're facing foreclosure, don't hesitate. Reach out to a federal housing counselor as soon as possible. You can't be shy. You have to be very aggressive. A group like NeighborWorks might be able to keep you in your home. The next chart is the notices in foreclosure deeds throughout the 27 communities of Plymouth County. From Abington to Whitman, you can still see there are a lot of zeros there. During the COVID era, there was a moratorium on foreclosure deeds and mortgages, and a lot of zeros, meaning no filings, remain. However, you'll see in Brockton, for example, there were 10 orders of notice on one foreclosure deed. You get down to Plymouth and Wareham, and you'll see greater numbers than other communities. But again, if you're facing difficulty, don't hesitate. Reach out for help, and the best way to do it is a free visit or communication with NeighborWorks. We also hear a lot these days about fraud alert. One of the things that we offer is a free fraud alert program. If you go to our website, PlymouthDeeds.org, go to resources, and you'll see fraud alert. If you enter your name and your email, anything that gets recorded in your name, you'll get a notice, and you can take action. Again, as a property owner, you have to be very vigilant in protecting your property. I strongly advise everyone to sign up for this free fraud alert. You're also getting mailings once in a while from organizations saying they can get you a copy of your deed for $50 or more. You can get a copy of your deed for $1 at one of our satellites, Plymouth, Brockton, or Rockland. Or if you call our customer service, they can get you a copy of your deed for $5. So Bill Callahan is my guest coming on the show, and you'll see him in the next segment. Welcome back to the Register's Report. In this segment of the show, we do something educational in nature. We've had surveyors, appraisers, home builders, everything involved in the real estate community, but our realtors are the people that are on the ground. So I have a great realtor, an experienced realtor here today, who's been a guest before, Bill Callahan.
Thank you very much,
Welcome
John.
back.
My pleasure to be here. I always enjoy coming down here. And of course, I like to talk about real estate.
Yeah, let's do a little 30-second history.
Yeah.
How you became a realtor.
My father was a sole proprietor. My father started in '56 and started selling houses. And then you didn't need a license. The license law came into effect in the early '60s. And Brockton then was really much a kind of a farming town. So he was very successful, and I talked about joining him. And then the company I worked for was changing, and really, I said, Dad, I'm either going to sell real estate with you or I'm going to get another job. He said, well, get up here on Saturday. It took a while. It took 2 years. I worked at the track for 2 years.
Before you get your contract.
While I was doing, before I could get out on my own.
Sure.
I needed some walking around money,
Right.
I call it. And so I was down there 3 days a week, not full time. But after a while, I got kind of into it and met more people. And it's 40 years in August.
Wow. That's
40 years.
great. Where's the celebration?
Actually, it's 40 years in July. My wedding anniversary is 40 years in August.
Yeah, don't mix those up.
Yeah, no,
Jane will
you're
appreciate that.
Yeah. So, it's been very good. I'm very fortunate. Very fortunate.
So where are we, from your perspective, in the real estate market today?
I'm going to tell you, we're not in a seller's market anymore. Let me correct that. We are in a buyer's market, not killer buyer's market, but we're in a buyer's market. And here's the difference. I was talking with an agent yesterday, and we were joking about a personal appraisal. You have a market appraisal, market value appraisal, sales approach, income approach, reproduction, construction cost approach, and personal appraisal. Personal appraisal is when you tell me, you're the seller, you tell me how much you think the house is worth. He's got a listing that's $750 and it should be $650. He calls that a personal appraisal. You want to sell a house today? My daughter's house is closing Thursday. We should have put it on. I was thinking 525, 5 something. She said, Dad, we're putting on at 500. We had open house Saturday and Sunday. This is a month and a half ago. Packed both days. 6 offers over 500. 6 offers. They just lined up. So we attracted buyers there. And we got all kinds of different offers so we could, and I tell clients this now. You will know, if you get 2 offers, you're going to know. You get 3 offers or 4 offers, you can see for yourself how they lay out. And I just did it again this weekend. 7 or 8 people in an open house. We signed the offer today.
Wow.
Over asking. 530, we got over asking. 2 offers.
Why?
Because it's value. They see the value. This guy that I signed the offer today, new steps, new railings, new roof on the house in the garage, new windows all the way around, new boiler, new electrical panel, new oil tank. Took care of all the big things.
Yeah.
That home inspection Thursday is going to be nothing. So you have to attract buyers today. They come in and see it's $599 and it's supposed to be $530. They're walking away, and they're not going to come back. And then you're stuck going reducing it every week. So if you really want to sell your house, you don't do the personal appraisal. Don't take the neighbor's appraisal. Don't take your butcher's appraisal. Take the real estate agent's appraisal, and you'll do very well.
You have a story about home inspections?
I do. I just want to alert everybody, your audience is a good audience. Massachusetts passed a home inspection law. It's a law that the seller and the seller's agent cannot influence the buyer about a home inspection. Every buyer in the Commonwealth is entitled to a home inspection. And I cannot say to them, and the seller can't tell me to say to them, skip the home inspection, you got the offer. That is against the law. And we sign a disclosure right from the beginning. And the buyer has to sign that same disclosure, not the buyer agent. So if the buyer doesn't sign it, and we don't have it, because he didn't do the home inspection, we unduly influenced him, that's breaking the law. And I just want to make sure everybody knows, let them have a home inspection. There's nothing wrong with a home inspection. If you haven't done your work ahead of time, then you're afraid of a home inspection.
Yeah, right.
If you're like the guy today, he's done all it. I said, Tom, don't worry about the home inspection. You did everything.
Right.
He's got one spot he's got to paint. That's it. So that's a cautionary warning for everybody.
So you think the market is stable?
I think we have a lot of issues in the market. Gas is over $4. Home heating fuel's over $4. The interest rates are 6.5%. It's harder for these buyers to put together their budget and still buy a house. And we're talking about houses, everything's over 5 now. If you find something under 5, I don't know what kind of condition it's going to be in. So those are things that we didn't have to deal with a year ago or 2 years ago. My daughter's selling her house. Her mortgage rate is 3%. She's never going to see that.
Right,
She won't see that maybe for 20 years.
Right, if ever.
What? If ever.
If ever.
If ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, John, the market is just like everybody's home budget is under pressure, under real pressure,
Yeah, I read an article the other day about it seems like the only way first-time home buyers are getting into the market is with family help.
Right. Yes. Yes. It's a big difference. I read an article the other day where, 3 or 4 years ago when interest rates were at 3%, that the person making, I forget the number of dollars, but they could afford a $500,000. With all that I just said about the interest rates, now they can afford like $350,000 for a house.
That's no good.
That doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
You can't even buy a nice condo.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping, but these are ups and downs in our market, the real estate market, life. Hopefully we can get through some things, see the gas prices come down, home heating fuel. And the natural gas will go up too. That's not insulated. That price will go up.
Right. So there's been a lot of talk since one of the governor's pieces of legislations about accessory dwelling units.
Correct.
And you've become an expert in that.
I've become an expert.
Explain
This is a good question.
Explain to our audience how you became an expert.
My wife and I, Jane and I, moved into our accessory dwelling unit. I will say detached accessory dwelling unit. So it's behind the house we sold. And just to be clear, to say this, we don't own the house, the accessory dwelling unit. My daughter owns the house and the land, and now she owns an accessory dwelling unit. We call the cottage, so we're going to call it ADU. 900 square feet exactly, 25 by 36, 900 square feet, okay? We do have a sunroom that's unheated and a deck, exterior deck. But the interior of the house is a bath and a half because we squeezed a half bath in by the door, front door, kitchen, no real dining room, not dining area, living room. And in the back is a bedroom, closet, laundry, and like a master bath, walk-in shower and things. And it's wonderful, it's beautiful. But I'm going to tell you the important things about an ADU, because people are asking me all the time. So first of all, you have to talk, if you don't have sewer, if you have sewer, you got to figure out how to get the sewer from wherever you're going to put it in the yard. And where you put it in the yard has to meet all your setbacks. So if you're interested in doing this, if it's detached, you got to meet the setbacks. If it's going to be part of the garage, you still have to meet setbacks, okay? You have to get sewer and water to the ADU. You got to figure that out. And the water department, those people will help you. And I didn't have to go to the water department for sewer. I went to my Board of Health because I have septic. So I had to put a septic tank in front of the ADU with a pump to pump the septic up to the front yard, to the leaching field. It actually goes into a D-box, into their tank, the new tank I put in for the big house, to the leaching field. But my leaching field was designed for 5 bedrooms, which they allowed me to keep that leaching field. So I had to replace 2 tanks, put it all in the ground. It was costly, but, so those 3 things, water, sewer, setbacks. Building setbacks is critical. The building inspector's not even going to talk to you. And then whether it's going to be a separate ADU detached or part of the house somehow.
So it's a little different for you. You're a realtor and you worked out with your daughter's home, the arrangement.
Correct. Yeah.
How would you advise a regular person to start the process?
Well, if you own the house, you don't have to have a family member in the ADU. So if you own the house,
Right.
you can. I would start with your building inspector, and talk to them, and then start doing some. Before you even talk to the building inspector, you can find that all online, what the setbacks are in your zone. Like in Brockton, you find out what zone you are. It's in your. You can find your field card, and at the top will say R1C or R2, and then you go to online, the zoning bylaws, and setbacks. There's a chart. It'll tell you 10 feet, 20 feet from the side, from the front, from the back. And then you can figure out, okay, can I attach it to the house and I'll still be within that guideline? Can I get a separate sewer line? Can I get a separate water line? I'm not sure in the city of Brockton if you actually need separate water and sewer, or you can have it. I don't know if it's mandatory that you get a separate line. Then you go to the building department. Okay, I've checked these things out. Can I do this? You know, here's what I've found with my homework, and they're going to help you because now we've gone a whole year with it, and actually July coming up will be the 1-year anniversary of the effective date, and it's because it was law February of 25, February 26, July of 25 it was effective. So we're 1 year into it. And it's a very popular thing now.
Right.
Very popular.
I know it is.
Yeah.
It adds extra units
Yes.
without as much expense as building a house.
Yeah. Well, we spent a good amount of money. But you can do it. We took the equity from the house and reinvested it.
Yeah.
Now, that's my daughter's equity now.
Sure.
So we have what's called a life estate. So you can talk to your attorney, you know, if you're going to do this with a family member, you want to make sure you have a life estate so they can't kick you out. If I didn't have that, my daughter could come down and say, hey, you got to leave because we're going to rent it to someone else. With a life estate, you know,
You're protected.
till I'm dead.
Yeah.
And then it goes to my wife until she's
Yeah.
dead.
No, I get it.
So, but it's successful in terms of the governor's bill because it created 4 living units. I told you this. So we built a new unit. That's one housing unit. We sold our daughter a house. That's a second housing unit. They sold a house in Stoughton. That's a 3rd unit. And those people either sold a house or got out of an apartment, which is a 4th unit, maybe a 5th if they sold a house. So in one transaction, by us doing that first ADU, there were 4 housing units included,
Yeah, great.
maybe a 5th.
Broke the log jam.
Yeah.
It's a log jam out
So I heard a number of new ADUs at 1,200 in the Commonwealth. That sounds low to me.
there. Yeah.
1,200. That would be if it's 4 units, that's 48,000 units. No, it's 4,800. Is it
Yeah, 4,800.
4,800 units? Almost 5,000
Yeah,
units.
sure.
Not bad for a
Without,
start.
without a lot of strain on,
Right.
you know.
And the towns now are really get up for it. I hear Plymouth is really hot.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
A lot of properties down there
Bridgewater,
with room.
yeah, there's room. The lots have the room. And, you know, it's a nice community where people, maybe the kids will stay there, you know, buy it.
Otherwise, they couldn't.
Right. You know, if you have to have a connection with the owner of the house. So it worked out great, and
Good.
we're very happy. And it's a successful. It's going to be very successful.
Good. Well, we'll talk about it next time you're on.
Yeah, good.
So I want to thank Bill Callahan for the great job he did in describing what is going on in the real estate market. Realtors are on the ground. They know exactly what's happening. And follow his advice, and you'll be in good stead. In this segment of the show, we do something lighter in nature. The holidays for the month are Flag Day on the 14th, Juneteenth on the 19th, Father's Day on the 21st. The summer solstice began on the 21st also. And we're going to talk about a couple places you can go. There's a lot of talk about celebrating our nation's 250th anniversary. And these are a couple places you can go that tells the story of our location here in Plymouth County and the land we walk on. So over on the Kingston-Plymouth line, there's something called the New Guinea Settlement at Parting Ways. Back in 1792, after the Revolutionary War, the town of Plymouth granted the use of 94 acres of land to 4 black Revolutionary War veterans: Cato Howe, Kwame Quash, Plato Turner, and Prince Goodwin. And they established a settlement that was occupied by their descendants until 1908. It's believed that all 4 people were from Guinea, Africa, via Cape Verde. They built a settlement there, and the remnants of the settlement are still there. You can see the foundations of the property. You can also see those 4 black Revolutionary War soldiers' grave sites. It's a place you can walk around, and it's part of our Plymouth County history. It is located on Route 80 in West Plymouth. It includes a marble tablet memorializing this settlement and their graves. It is on the National Register of Historic Places. So the next one that a lot of people have probably already visited, the Situate Lighthouse. The United States government opened the lighthouse at Cedar Point in 1811 in Situate. Simeon Bates was the first lighthouse keeper. He was away from the lighthouse, and his daughters, Rebecca and Abigail Bates, were left in charge of the light, and they saw a British frigate coming into Situate Harbor. They gathered the townspeople, made a lot of noise, played drums, a fife, and loud music, and they basically tricked the British soldiers and naval people into believing there was a mustering on the site, and they turned around and did not come into Situate Harbor. They're nicknamed the American Army of Two. If you go to Situate Lighthouse, There's a place to watch the boats come in and out of the harbor, and it is run now by the Situate Historical Society, and there still are things happening there over the years, and on windy, misty nights, they say you can still hear the sound of the fife and drum that the two daughters of Simeon Bates were playing. And our last Plymouth County property is a replica of a home owned by Daniel Webster in Marshfield. Daniel Webster was a very famous political person in America. He was born in New Hampshire. He became a congressman in New Hampshire, and he delivered the oration in Plymouth celebrating the bicentennial of the Pilgrim's arrival. He was a lawyer that achieved great national prominence as counsel on many Supreme Court cases. He had a very strong record in the House of Representatives, in the Senate. He is named one of the top 10 senators of all time, and he also served as Secretary of State to the United States of America. He's best remembered for his skill as a senator, keeping the Civil War from happening and delaying it for a number of years. There is a replica of his home over in the town of Marshfield that is a great place to visit and look at the history of that era. Ever since the Plymouth 400th anniversary, we're in the Plymouth, United States 250th, we have talked about one of our Plymouth colony records. This one is in 1638, when the colonial court decided they would build bridges over the South River in Situate and a bridge over the Jones River on the Plymouth-Kingston line. And back in those days, people had to travel long distances to go around the rivers, and the building of these bridges made transportation for carts, people, and horses a lot better. In the short term, what they did was they approved a ferry over the Jones River. And those kind of projects were some of America's first public transportation projects and were very helpful at the time for people to live their life. I want to thank the folks here at Brockton Cable Access once again for helping me put this show together. I want to thank Lorna Green Baker and Liz White and Greg White for helping me get the images together. For most people, their home is their most valuable asset. And the more you know about it, the better you can protect yourself. So thank Michelle Hepshey here at Brockton Cable Access, and we'll see you next month. Happy 4th of July. We'll see you in July.